For as long as I can remember, I've lived in the shadow of my siblings' privilege. I've watched from the sidelines while they got all the opportunities, all the chances to step out into the world. So when I was finally offered a once-in-a-lifetime chance to volunteer abroad, an opportunity almost fully paid for, save for the cost of a passport and some immunization shots, I couldn't believe it. This was my time. I was 15 years old, and the world was finally within my reach. But of course, my sibling was quick to shut that dream down. First, it was the money. We can't afford it. Fine, I understood. But then, when the trip was actually happening and the date was drawing near, she hit me with the real reason. I can't trust what you'll do over there. That was the moment I realized the ugly truth. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything logical. It was about control. It was about her not wanting to see me step outside her shadow. She didn't want me to grow, to have my own life, to experience what she had while she shut me out. That was only the beginning of what I would later discover was a lifelong pattern of sabotage. But there was one moment that stands out. I needed to attend a neuropsychological assessment to finally get the help I desperately needed. For years, she had convinced everyone that I was simply shy. She minimized my struggles, undermined my very reality, and made it seem like I was just a quiet, introverted kid who couldn't cope. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. My mind was wired differently, and I couldn't get the world to understand that. I needed answers, and I needed help. My sibling promised she would be there for my neuropsych assessment, as though her presence would somehow validate my experience. But, in true form, she tried to pull a fast one. At the last minute, she backed out, leaving me stranded once again to fend for myself. But this time, I wasn't unprepared. I had the documentation I needed to go ahead with the assessment on my own. I didn't need her, and that day, everything changed. I finally got my diagnosis, autism spectrum disorder. It was like a veil had been lifted from my eyes. Finally, I understood myself. Finally, I could get the help I needed from day one. But that realization came with a harsh truth. My sibling had spent my entire life running interference, telling people I was shy, misrepresenting me to everyone, keeping me trapped in the wrong narrative. I wasn't shy. I wasn't broken. I had a brain that worked differently. But the more I learned, the more I realized how much of my life had been manipulated by her control. Fast forward to today, and things haven't improved. In fact, they've gotten worse. Recently, my sibling left the toilet handle broken for nearly a month. For weeks, I've had to manually flush the toilet, something so simple that she couldn't be bothered to fix. But that's not even the worst part. Last night, I finally stood up to her. I'd had enough. I told her I wasn't going to take it anymore, that I deserved better. But what did I wake up to this morning? A toilet overflowing with waste, shit, and used toilet paper scattered all around the seat. Luckily, I'm able to use the bathroom at school, but this is the final straw. I'm done being treated like this. Done being the afterthought, the one who has to clean up after her, the one who gets pushed aside every time I try to assert myself. The toilet situation is the perfect metaphor for everything she's put me through. But I won't be the one cleaning up her mess anymore. I'm fixing that toilet myself. I'm taking control, and I'm not going to let her stop me. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. And I'm done. I'm fixing this. For me. Update. I wasn't expecting to post an update so soon, but things have escalated faster than I anticipated. After the whole toilet incident, I thought maybe it was just a petty act of revenge, something she'd do to try and make me feel bad or guilty for standing up to her. But nope, it's clear now that she's just as malicious as I feared. So here's what happened. After cleaning up the mess that she deliberately left for me, I took it upon myself to fix the damn toilet. I wasn't going to put up with this anymore, and I figured it was about time I stopped waiting for her to do something that she clearly had no intention of doing. I went to the store, bought the parts, and spent my afternoon fixing it. I'm not a plumber, but I've learned a lot about DIY repairs just from dealing with her incompetence over the years. But the real kicker came later that day. When I got home, I found out she had locked me out of the bathroom. Like, seriously. She literally locked the bathroom door and refused to give me the key, all because she was mad I'd fixed the toilet without her. She made some snide comment about how I wasn't qualified and how I'd messed it up. She wasn't even joking. She genuinely believed she could just stop me from using the bathroom altogether because of her petty control issues. I've had enough of her games. I've spent so much of my life tiptoeing around her, constantly dealing with her need to be the center of everything. And it's not just about the bathroom. This is about everything. From the trip I wasn't allowed to take to my neuropsych assessment, she tried to sabotage. All of it is adding up. She's been manipulating and gaslighting me my whole life, and I can't keep letting it happen. So I did something I should have done a long time ago. I went to my parents and told them everything. How she's been treating me, how she's been making my life harder on purpose, and how it's affected me. It wasn't easy, and honestly, I wasn't sure if they'd believe me. But they did. My parents were shocked. I've always kept my feelings bottled up, trying to protect her image, but now they can see the truth. Right now, things are tense at home. She's furious that I spoke up, and I'm sure she's plotting her next move. I don't know what will happen, but I can already feel a weight lifting off my shoulders. I finally feel like I'm not alone in this. I'm not just a bystander in my own life anymore. I'm still not sure how this is going to end, but I'm not backing down. No more enabling her behavior. No more letting her make me feel like I'm invisible or like I'm the problem. I'm taking my life back, step by step, and I'll keep updating as things unfold. Thanks again to everyone for the support. It really means a lot to know I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Final update. I know many of you have been following my journey for a while now, and I owe you all an update, even though it's bittersweet to write. The situation with my sibling has reached a point where I've had to make some hard decisions. I never imagined it would end like this, but here we are. After the whole bathroom debacle and finally standing up to her, things got even worse before they started to get better. As I mentioned in the last post, I spoke to my parents about everything. How my sibling had been sabotaging me for years, how she'd manipulated my experiences, and how she'd crossed so many lines with me. At first, my parents didn't know what to think. They'd always known her as the responsible one, the one who had everything together. But as I laid everything out, I could see the gears turning in their minds. They started to see the pattern, and they understood what I'd been living with all this time. My sibling wasn't happy about this. Not in the slightest. She tried to gaslight me again, telling me I was overreacting, that I was being dramatic. But it didn't work this time. I wasn't buying into her lies anymore. What happened next was honestly the final straw. She escalated things in a way that I never expected. She started spreading rumors about me to the rest of the family, painting me as the villain, saying I was too sensitive, that I was making things up. She even went so far as to accuse me of trying to turn our parents against her. It was the same manipulation, just in a new form. She couldn't stand the idea that I was no longer her puppet. She couldn't stand that I wasn't just quietly accepting her abuse anymore. But this time, I didn't just sit back and let her control the narrative. I stood my ground. I talked to family members individually, shared my side of the story, and for the first time, I felt like they were actually listening. They could see what she was doing, and they understood why I had been pushed to the point I was. It wasn't just about petty things like the toilet. It was years of built-up frustration, years of emotional manipulation, and years of feeling less than. In the end, my sibling stopped speaking to me. She cut ties, and honestly, I'm okay with it. I realized that I don't need her in my life to feel whole. I don't need someone who constantly belittles me and undermines me just to make themselves feel better. And for the first time in a long time, I feel free. The relationship with my parents has improved too. It's not perfect, but they've been more supportive of me, and we're working through things together. They're seeing how deeply my siblings' behavior has affected me, and they're finally stepping up to make sure I'm not left in the cold anymore. As for the toilet, well, I fixed it. Again. But this time, I'm no longer the one who has to clean up her mess, literally and figuratively. I've set boundaries, and I'm sticking to them. I'm not going to let anyone walk all over me anymore, especially not her. I'm still healing from all of this. There's a lot of emotional weight I'm carrying, and it's going to take time to fully process everything. But I'm in a much better place now. I'm learning how to take care of myself, how to put my needs first, and how to stop apologizing for existing the way I do. Thank you all for your support. I can't tell you how much it meant to me. I've learned a lot through this journey, and while I'm not sure where the future will take me, I know that I'm stronger than I've ever been before. This is my final update. I'm moving forward, and I'm done looking back.